Well, let's go on to a subject that, for all men, has no controversy, is not fraught with any problems whatsoever, because it's always just the smoothest of going. And that, is, of course, is our relationship with women. You once stated, and I'm paraphrasing, that there is a natural superiority to women over men. Explain that.
I first came across the hypothesis through an anthropologist named Ashley Montague, who I believe wrote a book called The Natural Superiority of Women. And I believe that. All of my best friends are women. Most of the people that I hang out with are women. I love women and I trust women. I trust them more than men. I think as a gender, and I know I'm painting this in very, very broad strokes, and I understand people who feel differently, who've just come through a divorce or something. But their heart's in the right place. Their sense of romance is in the right place. It was bequeathed to them to give birth to children, which is the highest responsibility that can be given to any. They're more loyal, truthful, sensitive, generous, loving than men. So I don't have a lot of things in common with men. The women have been really good to me, and they're smarter. More of them graduate college now than men do. You know, we can point to those figures, but I'm not all that interested in the demographics. I just know that when I am with a woman, I understand what it means when two hearts are beating as one. And I don't experience that with men. Yeah, there are other things that I like. You know, I can go bowling with a guy, although I haven't done that in 7 years. But yeah, I love women and I believe in them. If there was an option of you going home tonight to your lady, or to your roommate Bruce, or alone, you'd set your clock at different levels.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you crave your other half. They hold up half the sky. So, you know, when I'm around men who have negative things to say about women and make awful jokes about them, I know I'm with the wrong crowd.
I never found that manly. It's like hitting a woman. You know, how does that make you manly to hit a woman? It's quite the opposite, you know.
I think hitting a woman is well, hitting any person is sinful, and to lay hands on a woman or a child is virtually incomprehensible to me.
And it's interesting that in our macho culture, and it's not just, I don't mean by that Americans, I mean the world's macho culture, except for brief flirtations with worship of the goddess figure rather than the father figure. We have, if we're supposed to be the stronger, wiser, better of the two genders, seem to be pretty paranoid about giving women any power, and thus for a long, long time in human history have lost out on half the brain power of the human race, you know, by subjugating women to certain preconceived duties. We, you know, only recently are getting women airline pilots and women scientists and doctors and all of that. where we could have been using those ideas. The Madame Curies were always the exception to the rule rather than the rule. So hopefully now we'll see things, God, we almost had a woman president, And to be able to now utilize the other half of the population is something I think is long overdue.
Now I have to walk a fine line here between perceived political correctness and the dictates of my heart. Because this really is coming from a place of love for women. I was raised at a time when I bought into the illusion, dream, wish, or reality of a Frank Capra type world.
Sure.
A man and a woman find each other. The glue is trust. And two people can take on the world together.
Right.
And the man vests the trust in the woman that she has his back. Conversely, she does the same.
Right.
That's romance. Somewhere in the 1960s, Gloria Steinem and others suggested to women that they will find greater satisfaction in asserting their feminism by doing the same things that men do.
Mm.
So ultimately, if they chose, they could be independent from men.
Right. Yes, that's the extreme view, yes.
Years have passed now. We've gone beyond the Cinderella complex. And the new woman, to a large degree, now represents the old man. For the record, I am attracted to strong women. I was once at some film festival around the world and representing Melanie Griffith, who is an Oscar nominee for Best Supporting Actress in Working Girl. And we had been doing a junket all day and all night where people had been asking her press questions. And the last reporter who came into the room asking the same question said to Melanie, look, you're offered all of these scripts for tremendous amounts of money every day of your life. What are the determining factors for you to make a decision as to what role you want to play? And Melanie looked at her and said, well, I'm attracted to strong women with open hearts who will back up what they say they're going to do. Close quote. Melanie Griffith. The reporter thanked her, walked out of the room, and we wrapped for the evening. I reflected upon that late at night after 100 interviews, and I said to her on a subsequent occasion, Melanie, you taught me a great Zen lesson that I'm going to carry with me in my life. For those are the three things that I look for in women. Look for strong women with open hearts who back up what they say they're going to do. We have now placed women in a position where they have to be all these things. They have to be the CEO of the corporate boardroom. Mm-hmm. They have to be the mother. They have to be the companion. They have to be the wife. They have to be the lover. They have to be the seductress. They have to do all this stuff for us. There's no way that they can cover all these bases. And as the women have these burdens placed upon them to be all these things, what it does is it lightens our load, because it implies we have to do less. Go out tomorrow and just go to a magazine store and look at all the women's magazines and all the dictates about what they've got to do to look pretty, to have perfect skin, to have great abs, to satisfy you in the bedroom, it's endless.
Yeah.
Compared to the men and the men's magazines about what you have to do to just enjoy your lady. The deck was stacked against them because the glass ceiling was always and is controlled by boys who would allow a few to rise to the top. Women have made some improvements in terms of their income-producing abilities in this country. But let's try and put that into perspective before breaking out the champagne bottles. So let's get real. Instead of chasing elusive or fictitious financial goals like Willy Loman in Death of a Salesman, when we talk about women and money in America today, we're speaking about women frequently supporting a child, or more than one, who were working at Walmart, who were behind the counter at truck stops that crisscross America, all-night coffee shops, and the woman who stood behind the register when you went grocery shopping earlier today. I am not saying it hasn't gotten better, it has. I am saying that the earning power of women in future generations may improve, but I'm also saying that in a sober conversation about working women, pointing to the handful of exceptions is a dodge and a distraction. But what they had to surrender to fulfill all of these responsibilities was this innate sense of intimacy and romance with men.